Okay, here's Daniel Sudduth. I'll let him go first. Okay, he's a real good example of how erect and unbalanced or off balance these kids become when they come to the set position. Notice right there as he came to set, he's wiggling and wobbling all around once he gets there. And that's because of two things. One, he's gotten himself straight up as he was. You see how low he is in his knees right here. As he comes to the set position, he's really going to stand way up. I mean, if you use that power line that's in the background back there, or if I just put a line on him right there, you really can see how much he elevated from being in that position to that position. Ideally, and the best way to work at it is if the kid's at that height right now, let's keep him at the same height when he's set. That'll keep him from losing his balance. Second thing is, let's not come completely together with our feet. Let's leave our feet a little bit apart. Like this guy's got his ankles completely all together now. His footprint is standing on something that's just barely as wide as the pitcher's plate itself. The more we can widen his base there, the more balance he's going to have. Especially for a bigger kid like this, they're going to need even more of that balance. If he can also weigh our approach to where we're going to bring the left foot for a right-handed pitcher in a little bit more in front of the right foot. So as he comes set, if he had his foot, I may put it a little too far out, but just a couple inches in front of the right foot toward the third base side, let's say, to help keep him closed more. That's really important, keeping the body closed as opposed to opening it up. So as he comes to the set, he's got his hands dropped in now, and he's going to lift. He does a decent job, as you see here, of lifting without taking a lot of movement towards second. He's a good example of just picking that knee up. He's also giving you a real good example with his toes about how his foot is just kind of hanging. It's below the knee. It's been lifted, and he's getting himself moving forward a little bit there, but he can be a lot more. It's a good example of how the body line through the right leg starts to tilt toward home plate. We would say sometimes in our thoughts that you don't want to fall off of that, but in reality you are falling forward. You see, so as he picks, notice how that line in his right leg has shifted, and he's come forward quite a bit. There he is at the top of his leg kick. So he's come forward a smidge. He's going to move forward the most right here. Notice how much his hips started to giddy up toward the plate. Now, if we could get him to get his hips to do that at the top of the leg kick so that his hips were out here maybe a little bit, that's extreme again. He would have a lot more ground force and a lot more use of his size. So foot strike again. And with a lot of these kids, we put a lot too much emphasis, I know I have and still do sometimes, on getting the left foot down. The left foot's going to come down. You can't help but put it down. Your body's not going to let you fall. I like the way his heel and everything tracks here, but at the very, very end, he wants to swing that left foot open again. Again, like we're trying to get that toe, oops, I didn't mean to do that. We're trying to get that toe to line up with home plate. That's not necessarily have to happen. Where everybody lands is just a little bit different with their left foot. Some are turned in a lot, some are turned out a little bit, some are turned out a lot. If they can do that and avoid what's happening to his upper body, how much of his hip and shoulder separation that he's lost. So his weight is just arriving now. He hadn't even gone flat-footed yet. And as you can see, the left shoulder and the left elbow, how unnatural they are. They're already starting to get into the throwing motion, and that's helping him to lose a lot of his velocity and his momentum. So now his hips turn. That's looking pretty good. His shoulders have turned, but again, the same time his shoulders are turning, his elbows are turning. His elbows turning as well. Notice there's not much lag in his elbow at all. And then the hand comes. He's not too bad with the hand, but if he got more separation from the elbow, you would have a much better effect with his hand. I love where his glove is, how he's got his glove up in here. He's really brought his body to the glove. If you notice how the glove stayed in that circle the whole time, he's going to bring his body to the glove. That's so awesome. He would have a better impact from it if his glove were further out right here. If his glove were further out in front or more over his toes, he would have even more power coming around that way. You see he's got a little bit early with his head right there. Again, that's part of what causes them to make them want to change the line of their hat. And the hat is such a good barometer to help you see and to help them use as a gauge for what they need to do. And it's a good point for them to use with learning. As they go through drills, they have to keep their hat level, like the skipping drills and the bounding drills and your infielders throwing drills. Everything that they can do to keep their head level. See, his level's off pretty good there on the end, but it's too late now. The ball's gone, and now he's in a better position, but again, he doesn't have the ball. It's the same you're going to find with your hitting. The more you can keep that hat level, the better your swing path and plane are going to be. Anyway, I hope it helps.